Well, we'll see. I think I got it all right. This site can't be reached. Well, that didn't work. Wasn't that nice? Nothing like being late. Last true. Maybe it is. No. Okay, we are live. So it did work. I was wrong.
You're good.
So we're good. It should be on. So now we're just waiting for hammer time to come on. I'm just double checking just to make sure it's showing up good. So what's new with you? Anything new?
As far as Stuef Dot Com.
Yeah, have you been working on those chords, keys?
So I think I put it in the chat, but I kind of started over, I guess last week, or I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And I started using the book this time.
Yeah.
And I think I did put this in the chat. But like the first update being 51 seconds, I went to page 51. And so I kind of paired that with Skippy. And then the next one was like a stamp or something, a page number that went with Skippy and Marvin. So I went to, I don't know, I've just been using the book lately. And then I looked at the plants again. The plants are going to kill me. But I do find it interesting. I thought about this week, but that Earth is like in the middle, right? So, and anything past Earth is a star essentially. So I was like, okay, well, maybe we split them up in two. So you have the left and a right side. And so maybe instead of one big constellation, there's like two. So I don't know. I was kind of playing around with the planets again.
Right.
And if so, if that's the case, then Neptune would essentially be it should be on the left side. And then, yeah, I don't know. Have you tried to start over yet? Or you're just.
No, I haven't. I was going through the thread where you had all the everything that was in twos.
Mhm.
And I was kind of going through that.
Yeah.
I just haven't had, I've been busy at work and I've had a lot going on here at home, so I haven't had much of a choice. But something I was looking at the Carrie Underwood thing and the typewriter Underwood.
Yeah.
So with the typewriter, I know it's Underwood and you got Carrie Underwood. You got the two names that match up.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting about Carrie Underwood's story was her dad worked at a paper mill.
Oh, really?
He used paper for a typewriter.
Yeah.
Now, I thought that was interesting coincidence that you've got Underwood, paper. Now I don't know where you go with that is the problem with any of this.
Well, that's why, I mean, I obviously think that like they're being put on different updates at certain times just so you can follow a thread like that.
Right.
So maybe you can pair your paper up in something in the same updates, essentially.
And you've got the paper airplane.
Was that on the same update?
I don't remember what update the paper airplane was on. I don't think it was on the same update.
Okay. Let's see. I can't remember.
So
the beauty of having my notes in this doc is I can literally just search them all. Okay, so that was not on the same. That was update 15.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a different.
Yeah.
Ben says in chat, says full disclosure, I had over an hour-long call with the Stuef folk a few days ago.
Well, we didn't. So
Yeah, we did it.
We haven't
Ben.
had an hour long of
So,
anything from Stuef Admin or Head Honcho. Probably not the same
so
person, but
before we went live, Whitney and I was talking about Stoof Admin versus Head Honcho. My assumption is they're two different people. That's pretty much a given. The second thing is, has Stoof Admin been fired? Because Stoof Admin has not been around since July,
yeah,
somewhere in there.
yeah. No, it's all a game. So much fun. I don't know. I'm like, I try not to get negative about it, but at this point, it's more like discouraging than anything because
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about it and I'm like, okay, why is it's? I feel like it's fun when everyone else is like in it and like trying to solve it, but it's like everyone understands something that I don't, and so they're not participating. I don't know. It's not hearing from them is kind of discouraging, I guess. But even though I know it's probably solvable at this point, we obviously
Yeah.
just don't know how to do it. But so I don't know.
Well, Ben says Stoof Admin is still watching.
Well,
So, and then he also says they just reiterated about the same stuff, said the site is going nowhere. It'll probably be around forever.
yeah, but we won't. So
Yeah, we won't. So I see Susie Finhavens, and I haven't seen her name for a while. And then Hooley, Redneck Express, INFJ, Glenna Friedman. There's a lot of people in here. Um, I don't know where to go. You and I've kind of talked a little bit, and you talking about the song that's got the glitch in it.
yeah, I
Um,
revisited that.
Still the same? Is that it?
Yeah, still the
Yeah.
same. One thing that I figured out that I had wrong was um, I had it down to the glitch happened at 32. Wait, hold on. Let me go back to my notes.
I think it was 32 because I said, "Oh, that's interesting." No scratch.
Okay,
32.
right,
Jack Stoof was 32 years old when he came out of the
exactly.
binder.
And then obviously lost. Or no, that's 23. Okay, no, hold on. Still same.
Well, it's so
Because my glitch was at it was a different point.
okay.
Okay, so I had 3 minutes and 20 seconds was the original time that I had. But when I went back into it and I like zoomed really far in to see exactly when, it was 3 minutes and 19 seconds. 3 minutes, 19 seconds, and 20 milliseconds. So I like broke it down even further. So I don't know. That's why I had asked, did anything happen like March 19th? Or I don't know. I didn't know if that millisecond matters.
Okay,
Like
so just hear me out for a second. You said 3 minutes and 19 seconds.
three, how do you say this? 3 minutes and 19.4 seconds.
Okay, 19.4. Okay, let's
19.
drop the point four. So we got 319.
Right. But then I was like, okay, I guess my mind is just in, it's always been in X marks the spot mode and it's down to the micro. Okay. So you gotta like think about those milliseconds. So I didn't know if it would be, or if it even matters, or, like, obviously everything matters, but the glitch was just off from my original notes, I guess.
Yeah. So
Maybe,
Stoop Admin, if you're watching, can
I
you
mean, they're not,
verify if the glitch
they're
was on
gone.
purpose?
They're
They
good.
could be watching.
Probably, but they're not gonna give us anything, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Okay, so those numbers, now think about this, our conversations that we've had. Okay, 3, 1, and a 9.
Mhm.
C
Yeah,
A I.
the AI. Yeah, I know, and especially with your Bismarck thing. So I know,
Yeah. I thought that's pretty interesting.
which I don't know if numbers are just supposed to keep us busy, kind of thing. I don't know, or if we're supposed to take this number and then put it on a different song because it's still the same. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a page number, and you're supposed to go to like the fourth line, and then because it goes through 3 minutes 19.4 seconds through 3 minutes 19 seconds or 19.45 seconds. So I don't know if that like that matters. I have no idea.
Yeah,
So
I don't
the
know.
glitches messed me up a little bit. That was another thing I really because at this point,
If we could get that confirmed, Ben, how about you do that? You've got their ear.
yeah,
Ask them if the glitch in the song is something that's was a mistake or was it intentional?
I think I've just
Because
set
here's
myself
my
up for
I,
everything to get disappointed at this point because nothing nothing's gonna go how we like if we just ask, like they want us to go find it, but so I don't know if we will ever, but
right. And the thing is, when you were talking about the music with the glitch in it, I started thinking about the music being more important than anything else.
mhm.
Okay, well, the red herring picture is up on the wall. What if everything at the top, inside all that inside that area is nothing but a red herring, except for maybe the Wonderwall. But because there is a map there and there are things placed on it,
Yeah,
what if it's nothing but the song, the chord or the key or something like that? I did start doing something. I was looking at the key that each song was being played in,
mhm.
trying to see if that was leading me somewhere, but it didn't seem like it was leading me anywhere. But it seems like the music is outside the room, except for the very beginning when Stuef.com came up, the music was inside
Yeah,
the picture.
yeah, and that was enough. Like even on the first update, they pushed. Um, that's why I kind of like felt like there was like a revelation in a sense for myself because once I figured out the, I mean, take all of this with a grain of salt because I'm going to change my mind next week. But with the original one, I was thinking it was talking about Skippy, and then on the second one, how it pushes it out of the frame to the bottom
Mhm.
because Skippy and his dad, they're both William Marvin Fenn, junior and senior. So I was like, okay, well, it takes two, so maybe this is like both of them, and meaning that I don't know. It was the fact that they go in and out of the frame was interesting.
Yeah.
So, and that only happens like in the beginning, and then after that, they're all at the bottom.
Yeah.
So, I guess the reason why I started, I was like, if I don't understand the first like 9 updates, there's no point in like even looking at the other ones. Like, I don't know, even things that like are out of focus. Like, I don't know if we should focus on like um not even focus on them because they're so blurry or like just take what they've given us. I don't know because some objects are blurrier than others.
Hmm.
Like obviously I feel like that's intentional. So
Right, right. Chris, here's Chris. He's going to join us here.
also, did you like write out each key? Like did you share that? Because that's interesting
I
because I don't
haven't, I
I'm
haven't
not
yet.
musically inclined at all.
Well, see, I'm
So
not either. My daughter knows a lot about music, but I don't.
yeah.
So no, I have not done it with each song yet, but I just feel like the music's going to get us probably something, either the key or the chord or the numbers with the music is
Yeah.
probably going to get us more of a cipher based,
Mm-hmm.
get us to a name. That's what
Yeah.
we got to get to. Hello, Chris. Can you hear me? You
Hey,
there?
how are y'all? Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I'm
Okay.
driving right now.
Oh no, you're
Uh,
fine.
I wanted to get in on this though and see how everybody's doing for sure. I just heard that y'all were talking about the music. It's outside, so maybe like I was sharing with the other day, maybe we need to go into share your music thread where it's outside of our little Stoof domain that we have going on. They're trying to spread us out a little bit through Discord and then give us other hints from what other people have said.
Yeah. I've
And
thought of it as well, like seeing But at that point, I mean, that thread is so long that you would need to know who you're looking for or when you're looking for, I feel like,
Yeah.
because people share music every day.
Yeah, they share music, and not to mention well, that's the way with most of the threads anyway, is there's a lot of information in there to take in. And
Yeah.
how does that going to narrow you down to a specific name? I mean, I get like you got the Hurley guy, William Hurley, and you've got Willie. Well, the only thing that matches up is WIL with all of that. Will.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about that one day. Now, what do you do with WIL? I don't know. I have no idea. That's where I'm confused with this, because when you look at the median name for first name, middle name, and last name, there's only so many letters you're going to probably need for that median. So in order to get a name, a specific
I
name,
mean, it's got to be a cipher at this point.
well, that's
And
what
the
I'm
fact
thinking.
that they shared the books, I mean, to me, that just confirms that we're going to need to use those with the song. I don't know, like if it's anything like podcast, you'll have to use, like you said, like those notes that you were talking about, and then we could use that. And also, I would love to know if there are two, like more than one purpose for the songs being cut. Right now, I'm using them as page numbers, but will I use that again? Like, are they? Is it a one track thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because some of those numbers, especially like, or guess like a range of. I'm sorry, not hold on.
You can mute. You can mute if you need
Okay,
to.
hold on.
You can mute. Ben says in here, Chris says the K on the King of Diamonds is intentionally blurred out from what I can tell. But we don't know that though. That's just a thought that Ben has. We don't know if that's intentionally or not.
Okay, I'm sorry. What?
Oh, Ben was saying in chat, said the K on the King of Diamonds is intentionally blurred
Yeah,
out.
that one's blurred out. And
But do we?
obviously the like
But is
little
that?
fishing hook thing, no one knows what it is. It's by the keyboard, like by the typewriter.
Maybe
That's
it's not it. How do we know it's intentional though? Maybe it's not intentional.
I just feel like whenever I zoom in, like on my phone, even, I mean, it may not be. It may just be like a low res situation and I'm taking it to heart. But to me, when I zoom in on my phone, at least,
So here I've got.
they're clear.
So because I'm a graphic designer, I know things about pixels. So when Vivetta found a pixel in Stuef.com that led him to what, Galatron, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Galatron.
So what I'm trying to remember is, when did he do that? Because I think that's before I even knew anything about this. Well, not that I didn't know anything about it. It's before I actually started participating. I was trying to remember when that was, because was before he found that, was Stuef.com pretty visible, and all of a sudden after that it became blurry, so you couldn't see the pixels. You see what I'm getting at? Was it in focus before?
Are you saying that it was not as blurry beforehand, but now it's blurrier
Yes.
afterwards?
Yes, after the Galatron thing.
I don't know. I feel like whenever I look back on notes, they're the same, but that doesn't mean anything because I'm saving. Because a lot of the images that I have saved are from ones that other people have put in those like little threads, and like for the update threads. And I feel like it could be misleading, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts, Chris? I'll let you talk for a little bit.
Yeah, I think that the most of what you're talking about is intentional. Like those little things that had changed over time. They're small, minute things. Like, why is the king blurred out? It's likely because somehow the word king is important, and they're giving us like bad descriptions of a prefix of that word with like key as well. So like when we have homonyms and the way that we say things, it could sound a little bit different if you have a draw, and then it could be spelled different when you use that draw of some sort. I was thinking about this the other day. So like
So I hear what you're
light,
saying because when you said it, you said the K, you
yeah.
said you reference key.
And
Well, then
but
we go back. Then we're going back to the music. Then.
and you're just taking off the G, which G is a important note when it comes to music, and you could play with it that way. But if you're finding a very subtle, very, but it's possible that it's intentional. It could be that that's all that you need to hone in on. Like that, there's a what ace and king or whatever. The king is the one that's manipulated. So it's one or the other. It's either, hey, look at the ace because the king has been, your process of elimination has gone out, or hey, we blurred this. Go ahead and focus on that because that's what we blurred. Same way with like the gray blotch that was taken out and removed, but it was also placed there too. That would
Mhm.
have a purpose. And it's likely that it's something to do with maybe the actual name of the color, or we could have found out, maybe there was a sequence of numbers that created the color scheme on, a program language or something that we
Yeah.
needed or something like that. Like they're putting stuff out there so that we can use that as the resource to help with one of the next pieces of the puzzle. And so they're using other things in the room that are redundant and
Mhm.
creating an automated little tiny puzzle for the audience to consistently figure out. But over time, they'll realize, oh, I'm spinning in circles, and I just need to take this piece and then leave it alone, let it
You're
sit.
not a kid. We're spinning in circles.
Yeah, everybody's head is spinning in circles, of course. And so of course Alan's gonna think of weird things because he has been he has been placed in the room as like a blaze. So
Yeah.
forever and
Well,
ever,
that's what
everybody.
I've got on the screen right now, Chris. I don't know if you can see it or not, but
Yeah,
that's what's on the screen.
I can see it.
So so I just did this today, so I'm going to share it. So this A, no, some people think it's a bird, some people think it's a plane. It says DB Cooper jumping out. That's his landing site, blah blah blah. Okay. I don't see it that way, but other people I think have pointed that out. So what I noticed was this part of the A reminds me of this over here on Albert Einstein at the temple.
Yeah.
This reminds me of that. Now, it's not exact, but that's why I put it up there beside there because I was like, man, that kind of looks like that with the line going down. And then there's like a little circle on his temple,
Yeah, those look
which
good.
which leads you back down. Like I said, um, here's well, I've got a map in the background you can see. I've talked
Well,
about this before. The song Jupiter, I mean what's the song? Fly Me to the Moon, Jupiter and Mars. So I
now,
did that.
now, while Stoof is sort of getting everybody mixed up in 9 different planets, there could be just one justification within that. And it was going back to the music. Like we have the name of a band that's called Train. And what are we trying to do? We are training at this point. And
Mhm.
like just start using things that way that have everything to do with the game that you're playing. And
Yeah.
then you don't bring much from the outside. Like Whitney comes from the outside. She has outside knowledge that a lot of fin searchers wouldn't know because she played a exterior game of the Forrest Fenn chase that bled out in a different way. And
Mhm.
there was just different information that was perceived in a different way through those channels, but it all came back into the Finn universe. But she had a different perspective of who Finn was after everything had already happened, and she got all the evidence after the fact. So she was able to sift through it and then go through searchers and network through people that weren't necessarily like, I mean, she came out of the blue and found the DB Cooper connections, you know, finding it through a series of networking, but she sees the red flags that were happening on an alternate universe of Forrest Fenn, but it brought her back in. So it's not far-fetched, in my opinion, that these were already created well in advance, just in script wise, just like holding on to, so that way whenever the time comes, hey, there's a guy out there that he already has a platform of things. All I got to do is give him this and, you know, some money, and then hell, his show's going to take off. Maybe it goes viral. It's just a deal. It's just a little business for him. And that's all he's doing, just giving him a little bit of business. And they have no idea what's happening other than just following their dream of being podcasters or treasure hunters or whatever. It could be close, but he's using them for something. And it's either to get the word out, or it's because they hold some sort of information about themselves. This is how the government kind of works and things. And not all the people take the fact that he was CIA into consideration. You can, and there are tactics that he employs himself and how he is able to communicate with people. There's just a whole series of things and how he picks up cues. He would know what type of person that was based off of what type of shoes they were wearing, or how their shirt was buttoned up, or just very keen things that could tell when someone's nervous, or when they have, you know, anxiety, or when they're confident, or when they're lying, when they're telling the truth. All kinds of things that can just pick people apart to who they are. And that has nothing to do with the treasure hunt itself, but what it does is it shows how well he is able to manipulate the game, how much control he could have had into it based off of his whole entire portfolio of words he was capable of using. And he tells us that. So now we're in a room where the next in line, right, that he could have the answers. We're just sort of filling this room out, and it seems that he was maybe given a set of directions from Finn on how he communicated through a series of puzzles and words, and now we're visually seeing that from Stuef, and he's trying to tell us what was going on based upon what character he is done. Like, he may have made a business deal. This is his part of the business. The same thing that, you know, Dan Barbarisi is. The guy is too occupied to be searching for Forrest Fenn, so he would be, you know, a perfect candidate to be a spokesperson for it, because he already is, in a way, a spokesperson. And things like that were used to hide and also trigger at the same time, because people were pissed that they weren't getting answers. But the point was not to get answers until the time was ready, I suppose. And that's the only thing I can think of with this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I dabble with it from here to there. I mean, I'm not like some other people that's really put a lot of time into it. Thank God I haven't, but because it's just a bunch of randomness stuff that's just, I mean, there's absolutely no direction as where you can go with this. I mean, you can draw pairs, but what do you do with the pairs? It's going to have to give you a letter or a number that refers to a letter that you can place into a line with set amount of, okay, let's say we've had 32 updates, right?
Yeah.
So let's say
No, 33.
33. Yeah. What if each one is only going to give us one letter of the name? So the full name, first, middle, and last adds up to 32, 33 letters.
Part of me thinks that
we've got to be able to simplify all this garbage to just get a name. That's what's frustrating to me.
I don't know why, but I really feel like the first 9 updates are going to give us a name or a password, and then the rest will give us a name or a password. Like, we will need to have 2 different things.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be one continuous name. I think that it will be 2 separate, because once the TV turns on, I feel like at that point the game shifts and it's telling you something different.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that yours looks like that.
What's that?
It's weird that yours looks like that, because when I go
this
back,
here?
Yeah,
This here.
because when I go back, that second song right there that you can see, it's pushed underneath the image, and it's weird that it's in the image here.
This was a screenshot from um, the Wayback Machine.
Maybe it's just different on mobile or something. Because when I go back
So
on,
that's
wait,
what I was looking at to see the pixel
really?
difference.
Because when I go back on my phone, it has it under the image.
If you notice the pixel differential,
Okay, so let's look at the
so
plan.
see the difference between the pixel? See how
Yes,
this J looks nice and clean, and you go up here. Look at that. See the difference? These would have been the first ones.
yeah. I feel like it goes in and out like a clearness on certain things too. Like
Yeah.
I remember that there was a couple updates towards the end where they added a frame, and I feel like there's a I don't know, maybe my memory's fuzzy, but I remember there being updates where the images as well, like all the little objects in the room, were a little bit blurry one day, and then they weren't as blurry the next.
But Ben says,
I
and
could be making that up though. To be honest, I don't know. It's fuzzy.
It's good stuff.
I want to comment on what Ben said in chat.
Do what? Hello.
That's where
Hello.
Hello,
Okay, Brian.
Chris. We always get hacked, or I do.
No, well, I think it's both. I think it's Brian at this point.
He's frozen. Frozen as snow.
Oh,
Oh, we got kicked out. You're the host now.
oh no, this is not good. I don't know how to add people.
Oh boy.
Shoot, do I end it? I don't know what to do. Shoot. Okay, well, maybe you can start back over. I guess I'm gonna wait because the link will still be open, so I'll give him like another second to like get back in.
I'm sure he'll pop in.
Yeah, I was wanting to look at the planets too because I was looking at the words of the song the other day, and if you go to like update 3 where it says in color, okay, so let's go back.
All right, so
If we don't have Neptune, the last one, I think it would. There he is.
there. Sorry, I lost connection
Because I feel
somehow.
like you'll be better to be on here because I know that you probably have programs where you can like pull it up and like actually like pinpoint it. But yeah, I don't know.
here's a question that I have then. All right, so why, if the song is called Drops of Jupiter, why not just put Jupiter? Why are we putting all of the planets up there? So, in my opinion, and how that this is being orchestrated is still keywords because we're using another redundant form of music. Okay, we're using the band name. Their titled name is Train, and then we're taking a little bit out of context and we're creating another simple word to use, which is planet. And so we have planets coming out. We're training and then we're planning stuff is what I'm trying to pull out of these keywords here. There is a production sort of puzzle here. Like the things that need to be in place are like these are the things that may unlock like Netflix things and shit like that carry over into reality. Like something over here is waiting for this to happen. And I think that we're just in a limbo with Stuef because nobody's looking at it. But I just take the planets, just don't get too much into the weeds with it. What is it that we could plan and what is it that we have to train for? And then sort of bringing into that dialogue. Planets are have everything to do with science. We have Einstein up there. What is scientifical out of training? What do we have to learn that's scientifical out of this? Is it simple? Shit
If
like that is
that's
how I'm
the
trying to roll
case,
with
then
it.
why would they leave out a planet? Like why?
That would be
If it was just to say plan or plan, like just taking that section of that word,
well,
why pull that one planet out for what?
that
I'm
just the same way we would use the title to what would be what is it subjective that the which planet is taken out because they could be getting us to focus on nothing. So when it's to me, I believe that like Venus or something was doubled. There's no Venus or there's two Mercuries or something like that. Like one of them is doubled and one of them is missing type of thing. Why would that sort of be a thing? It's the same way. Why did they blur out the king? What is
Well, they didn't
specific?
double a planet though. Like they just took out Neptune.
Did they take out? I'm not sure off the top of my head. In just general thought, I thought that Venus was
I mean, I know what
in
you're
there.
saying. You're very much big picture, which is good. Which I I unfortunately am like I get way too over my head with details of things. So I do lose track of things, but I think that it's interesting that they left out a planet. To me, it's we're trying to find that one planet. I don't know. That's what I was going to tell Brian too, to like pull it up because okay, you can ignore this if you want to because you and I are on different playing fields with the planets. But if Earth is in the middle, they've split it up because I Ben said, of note, Stuef Admin reminded me that planets look like stars from Earth. Take that for what it's worth. So again, I think that them splitting them up, there's two different objects. And to me, what I was going to say a second ago was it's almost like they're making a four on the left side and a one on the right side. Because if you draw a line from like Venus to Mercury, it was a one. And on the other side, they had like what looks like it's going to be a four, but there's not another bar for it to make it. And to me, it looked like it was going to be a 41, or if you mirrored it, it was going to be a 14, which would make me excited because there's a lot of 14s anyways. So I don't know.
I no, I actually I like that a lot. I even thought about that honestly. Like and taking these all of the angles into consideration is I think the key. So having everybody bend their brains together around each topic is what definitely helps conversations like this to where you can pull ideas that are extremely non-biased to where it's like that's what's there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bias hanging around still because people, everybody still has that hope lingering that they may be correct, but it could be just the fact that Finn designed this somehow, or whoever the hell he was, to have whoever participated with passion to all be correct because it can't all be done by one single person. And I think that's a consideration to take into to play if we're really talking about, a bunch of years at stake where people are, passionate about this and emotional. So yeah, I love that idea where you're taking the shape of that the planets are making and the location that they're in to create the dialogue. And I think that that's 100% fair because everything has to be precise for it. Like whoever did this is putting stuff where it needs to go because that's where they wanted it to go. And we
Yeah.
can't discount any of it at all. And so your dimension of it and then my dimension and anybody else's dimension of how this is playing out needs to just be plotted on paper, and the people that are extremely most wanting to solve this together just all have to sort of create like a think tank together that's exclusive to them only, I think, and not let anything in or out and that's how this all turns into a big fireball.
Reading this, it says Mercury is Gemini, the twins, which I wonder where that would line up on the screen. I didn't think about that, but being like if it's on the same line. Another thing that with, I mean, again, this may not be anything, but if it was making two separate ones, it would be they were both tilted. And so the guy that's in the rainbow, he's looking at the angle of what it would be at. Is it as if he was like looking straight up? And so I thought that was kind of interesting, like tilting it a little bit. What this gives us is absolutely nothing. So I don't know why I do this all the time, but tilting it seemed interesting too, because going with the titles of the word, if we started in the back, like furthest from the sun, and we went on the left side, it would go inside. It was like from the rainbow inside on the like by the cabinet, like the one where Ben's like bumblebee is, and it like passes through it. And then the next song, because it was like in color and then still the same, which still the same was it had a wood background, which you pass through the wood. If you were making a line from, I think it was Uranus to what's this thing? Gosh, I really should know this. What do we have over here? Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up.
Do you think that like the Garth Brooks song Against the Grain is redundant to itself as well? Like against the grain means you're basically, if you physically take that into context, it's a form of, scraping wood to file it down in a way. So you're creating notches and going against what you're talking about through the wood, right? So with all this talk about being in the wood, it seems like the nittiest, grittiest that you can get with it is a literal, like a swath in the wood. It's, I can't. I mean, what's the simplest form of that? I told that Brian a while back that he uses a lot of things and has never used the word jigs.
Mm-hmm.
He's never used that word ever. But every single context that he talks about, whether it be fly fishing, using a tool, jigging stuff into his artwork, dancing, anything that you can use with the word jig.
Sorry, guys.
Something to do with Forrest Fenn, I feel like. And so I think that in the wood may have something to do with the word jig in a way, just because of all the references of jigs for fly fishing and lures and things of that nature. And then now we have the lures in the
I
room.
remember you talking about that word too. I don't know. That was a long time ago.
Well, I associate jigs with the Gardner Museum is because I believe that the Gardner Museum has something to do with this way outside of our sites. Just only a few of us have seen it, and it'll eventually come into play. But the initials are IGS, so
Yeah.
SIGs and GIS is an actual term for using geospatial or GPS or coordinates or shit like that. So now you have an acronym of GIS, which is what you're actually trying to grid search for as a location from using coordinates or whatever. That's the only verifiable way. In my eyes, you could say that there would be a stick on the ground that would stay there forever, but your coordinates last forever and they'll always be there. And so if you can find a way to hide those coordinates in something that's simple and just bloom it out to distract, then I think you could do something like that. And also that would make something not natural. It would be that the word was more perfect than the spot, because the spot would be a natural occurrence. It can't go both ways. It can't be two phenomena at once.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I'm having internet issues. So they've been working on our internet for the last couple of weeks, but we assumed that they had everything fixed because they've been doing some technical upgrades on it. So
Yeah.
it could go down again. So if it does, I probably will just stay off once it does, but hopefully it'll stay on. We'll see.
Well, I'll just finish this thought, and we can finish up or what if y'all.
Well, I missed everything y'all were talking about. It's probably something good.
Well, no, I was just gonna say like the planet thing. To me, it almost went along with the song titles. Okay, so I pulled up the picture. So starting with Uranus to Saturn, it says it's in color, so you're going from the outside in. And then you would go to Jupiter, which the next after still the same, it's rise up. So you would go up to Jupiter, and it kind of like went up with it. And then the next one was in the end. So it goes like the same like degree. Like to me, it looked like it was the same like degree as like going from Uranus to Saturn and then up to Jupiter. And then it said like the next song is in the end. So it ends with Mars. And I feel like that's just like the point or the stopping point with that one. Again, I don't know if it means anything, but then to me, if you go along with that thought, Neptune would have been somewhere next to the second or the right side of like the right omega on the outside, and it would pass through Peggy, which I thought that was interesting. Like the same, I don't know, line. So I don't know. Or it's like Kristen says, and it's not spelling anything out. So
Well, I think it could be doing like both, where it's sending you to other objects. Like pretend like you're the little ship there, and it's sailing through these objects for you to see. Maybe it's trying to point you in the right directions to touch and in order. And the way you have those in order is when you start picking them apart when you're by yourself thinking and realizing, that means that and that, and then you just put it together while you're driving or sitting at home or doing watching a cartoon. It all just comes to you then. But I think you're like in the right direction in some degree. I mean, we don't know anything at all, but like what you're doing is completely original in thought, and how it's being performed are methods that are just ways that you can pull stuff and information you need out of this to solve it.
well, I think
So when I got kicked off twice, I was going to say something. It kicked me off.
okay.
We'll see what happens now when I'm getting ready to say it.
Okay.
It's probably Stuef. It's probably the head honcho is Stuef
Probably.
Stuef knocking me off. Anyway, we talk about the music, the chords, and the keys.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we know about DB Cooper? He pulled the chord, the D rings.
Right.
So that's another reference to music with all the DB Cooper stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then talk more about redundancy when you're simplifying words, coordinates, and then you have chord, and then go ahead and start inits, whatever you want. Inits are just play with these words, and it'll become like what you're talking about, where it's redundant. So you got chords in the songs, you have coordinates, and then you got Shiloh posting random chords and then cell phone chords and shit like that on the eBay. And so I don't imagine that anybody's going to say that, yeah, this is part of the game. They want people to chase so they can play, and it ruins the fun. If you're like, hey, come on and join, you're like, that doesn't look fun. You just got to kind of like just jump in and play. But 100% what y'all are talking where the songs are important than maybe the song that's playing in the movie. So like, and I've posted this in Discord chat, but the movie that we had with the Italian Job, right? I think that was like maybe our second movie or something, but it was the still shot in the scene was when the boat crashed. The closest dialogue within that boat crash was Seth Green saying, ha, ha, ha. So in that context, that is what we were supposed to look for. Of course, they were underwater picking a lock or a safe to unload all this gold and blah, blah, blah. But the simplest thing we were looking for was Seth Green, which had been all the chatter because of the movie that he was in about DB Cooper. Now all of a sudden he's giving us a title to a book, and Stuef.com put it right in front of our face. If they would have put Seth Green's face on there in the still shot, it would have been more obvious. But to keep people intrigued and playing, and to not get fully distracted with the real answer, I got to create other distractions. And so to keep the game going. But that's just one minor thing of how they can simplify something, but it can get taken way out of context and where it doesn't need to be. The theme, I think, is fine. Of course, I think we're looking for a treasure, and I think the treasure we're looking for is literally taken. It's stolen, and it's all missing still. And whoever did that probably, knows where it's at, and maybe that's what we're dealing with. And they were just clever, hired someone that was clever to play their game, whoever that was. That's how I play it. Just in here, if I was a billionaire executive and I wanted to make a movie, and someone came to me, was like, "Hey, this is what's going down," I may take a listen if I heard the right story. And I think that's what we're waiting for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Stuef.com is there to solve for people with no answers, or kind of want to know what's going on. I think that people that already have the answers that y'all may think that are out there are kind of like beyond Stuef.com, and just sort of help and guide that through, because it's not going to be like, it's going to be a surprise.
Ben pointed out, says, "Oh, they didn't elaborate, just something no one has talked about." So in other words, we're not even close.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it could be about a new season of Reading Rainbow. It could be anything. It's
Oh yeah, and Ben's talking about Without a Paddle. Yes, I know the movie. I know the whole Condor thing. Yeah, I know about that movie. Yep, it's been around forever.
I feel like at this point, if we're not even close, then it's just going to take someone that has fresh eyes with the website.
I do like your. Did you do any more with the chessboard? Do you remember that?
No, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So
8 by 8 is
yes and
64
no,
divided by 2 is 32.
No, I went ahead and drew it out, and I drew out my own chessboard, and then I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna fill this out. Like, I feel like there is a way that we could maybe fill something like that out. I don't know. It's tough because
So it makes sense. So what did I say a while ago? I mentioned 32 letters.
Yeah.
That'll give you a first name, middle name, and a last name somewhere in there. So maybe that chessboard. So maybe because the chessboard you got your white spaces and your black spaces.
Yeah.
Maybe when you get that filled out, you're only using half of the board to make up a name.
Right. Which she did in the next marks the spot.
Huh? What's that?
She did in next marks the spot. You used
Yes.
the white section.
Yeah.
So
I didn't participate in that, so I'm going to be really lost. I watched a little bit of that video.
Yeah. There was what looks like a chessboard in the reflection of the eyes, or of the sunglasses, of the DB Cooper sunglasses. So that's why I brought that up. But I guess it's just, I don't know what to put in it. Like, is it, I would think that you should start with the keys and just share whatever keys you find, or if you want to keep that to yourself, it's up to you. But I feel like that would be a good starting point, and then taking those words and, I don't know, shifting those somehow or another. I don't know.
I guess it's a good thing winter's coming.
It's too much at this point. There's just too many avenues. It's like information overload. I changed my mind too much. I think I'm just way too ADD for this.
Yeah, and then there are other people like me or Chris are giving you different ideas.
I know, and then I'm like, okay, well, that sounds good. So I don't know.
I mean, you have ran into something I thought was pretty interesting. honestly. But
with the chessboard.
that one, but also the
Oh,
library,
yeah, the documentary,
the documentary.
which
Yeah.
that may not be anything.
No, but I thought it was pretty. There were some pretty interesting things in though.
That was a pretty cool documentary. Anyways, it was for anyone that doesn't know.
Shh.
I found a documentary about. You're the one that brought it up. I wasn't even going to say anything, but I found a documentary about just. It was really about John Ehrlichman, and it was like a a 2-part documentary, and so it was just interesting anyways, even if it has nothing to do with this. I just thought it was kind of cool to watch.
Well, when I tell you what, there was a lot of things that perked my ears up. Like,
Yeah,
well, you pointed out the sign that said looked like it had the H
I
and a
did,
little
but then
letter
you found
H.
you found the original one, so I was like, okay, well, never mind. But that was kind of weird. It looked like it said "ha ha ha" on it.
Yeah, yeah, it
I was
did look
like,
like it said ha ha ha. But what perked my ears up is when they scrolled by the map, and the center of the map was Bismarck.
I know, that was weird. That was weird.
And then the second one, it starts out three B's production.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. And it's amazing how we can weave all this together and make it sound like it's something in our head, when in reality it's probably nothing.
Yeah,
That's the way with all of this stuff.
I know. That's what I mean. It's just over. It's like it's way too much, and not knowing what is red herrings and what is to focus on is, I don't know. It's tough to like kind of continue. I think that's why there's not that many people working on it anymore, just because.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So-
Is there an olive jar behind you? I've been looking at it this whole time. This whole time. Have you shown that before?
Oh, this olive jar?
Yeah, that olive jar. Did you make that?
Yeah, I made it.
It's cool. Have you shown that before?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I
Yep.
love it.
It's so cool.
Yep, I made it. It was supposed to be like a replica.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's been in the freezer a little bit.
Oh my
It's been
gosh.
outdoors for a little bit. And I want you to know that you can't really see through the paper either very well.
No,
No.
not yet. Give it time.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Um, so somebody asked Ben in chat, which I thought was really funny. Why was you on the phone for an hour with Stuef head honcho?
No.
I mean, an hour?
No.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a conversation to be had, I feel like. It
Well,
hasn't
that's
said
why
anything.
that's probably why Ben's not here because he knew he was going to get a lot of questions.
Well, that's the only one. Let's hear it. What would even a whole hour? Like, we
I
can't
think
even
it's
get
like,
them to react in any degree other than mysterious gifts. Ben gets a whole hour-long conversation.
I can almost guarantee that he's talked more than that 1 hour on the phone the other day. I'm sure there's multiple conversations, multiple days.
Well, it was funny because I didn't pay much attention to it until I realized, wait a minute, just like 2 hours later, he was talking about how he hadn't heard from them in 2 months. And, it was funny. You gotta like Ben. I like him. You don't know where he stands.
I mean, that's where our hope is, I guess, in my eyes. Well, I mean, if I believe him that he's having these long conversations with them, then I'm not going anywhere. If they ain't, that's how I just sort of play it. I'll play that for as long as it takes.
Yeah, but you don't know what's at the end. It could be just nothing. You could have wasted 2 years of your time and okay, so you got the answer. Now what?
I've wasted 40 years of my life at this point in ways, so I
I don't feel
have.
like I've wasted 40 years. No.
No, I'm not a time waster. I think that it's an actual thing. You don't have to think that, but it's there to still be solved. And there's there's not really anything out there that's like it that really takes my focus away, to be honest with you. And so that's simply why I play it. But, you know, it's just, you know, a game at the end of the day that everybody wants to know the answer to.
So what's the probability this all has to do with a name from Ha Ha Ha?
I mean, if you ask me, it's 100% probability. Like there's 0% chance that it's not. That's how confident that I am. In fact, it's like beyond that. It's not just the book it's published. That was like a sequence to start this thing years and years ago. A lot of people underestimate other people, and maybe those people aren't necessarily the people that I'm talking about, but like it's just things that people are capable of doing that are you never thought of, that people just hadn't seen been done before, that are right in front of your eyes. And
Well, I see Mario. I see Mario. I see Mario in the room. I'm assuming Mario could help us out because it's probably the answer is probably in the poem. I don't know if you all know who Mario is, but
I know Mario.
yeah.
I like Mario. I like his ideas too. I like his accent, and that he's.
I think everybody's got good ideas. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just having the right idea.
I mean,
So
is that even?
I'm going to put my rally hat on. We're going to get this done. This winter, we're going to figure this out.
I'm
It
getting
feels like,
tired.
And I think Whitney's onto something when it comes to that chessboard. If this has anything to do with X marks the spot, then by God, that's exactly what it is. They're doing the same thing over again. They're doing the same thing over again. Could be. But that's not going to get us a ha ha ha.
What if there is a game of chess being played through this somehow? And people can join, like spectators can join, but there's like, I'm just saying, like there's some crazy ideas that could be happening. People just aren't really, they won't go down that route. But I mean, it's possible that that's what's going on. And just to play the game, though.
Yeah. What about the frog jar, Whitney? Riper asked me to ask you about that.
Okay, so this was something I think after I looked through the Discord, it looked like it's been brought up before, but she, I don't know what all she wants me to say. I don't know. They're essentially, I know everyone knows about like the planet jars, and like maybe that is like the inspiration behind the jars. But I was looking, when I looked them up, I saw that all the planet jars that's in like Vietnam, or that I forget, like we're in China. Or where's it at? Where's the planet jars? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, so when I looked them up, they're all undecorated except for one, and there was only one that has a frogman on it. And I was like, well, that's got to be like the inspiration. Like I agreed with her. Like I think that it for sure is the inspiration behind it, because the frogman looked like pretty similar to the frog that's on the jars that Ben has.
The frogman where? Where's this at?
So the planet jars, it's kind of unknown what they were used for, but it looks like you can assume that they were probably for burial. I mean, I don't know if anyone really knows for sure, but they were all like these, they're huge. Like if you look at pictures, they're huge. And there's only one that has any kind of decoration, and it's a big frogman. I don't know. You'll have to look up the pictures and like compare them.
45 minutes later,
So if I can give another redundant part from that, like
Please
frog
do, because I don't know much about
the uh frogman can tie into just the simple other term of the word seal. And it could have been that Skippy was maybe a Navy SEAL or something back in the day. And they're called frogmen, is what their nicknames are. But in some sort of tribute, SEALs are known for their trident. That's what they wear as their badge of honor when they pass SEAL school through buds and then qualification training. So they're these elite soldiers that can jump out of planes and swim in the water and shoot on land and do all this stuff. So the frogmen, when it's tied into military, it's 100% going to be, the next word is going to be SEAL. And of course, you have these jars that are sealed off. You have the autobiography that's sealed off. You have everything that you can tie into SEAL. So it's possible.
also like marry that with like death and like where people are buried too. So like it could even go back all the way back to D.B. Cooper with the four, like row 4, plot 23 kind of thing. So
And
I don't know.
I think that it's possible that the story of DB Cooper in real life, if Skippy was somehow involved, maybe he didn't come out of that alive, but Finn had found him first with a beacon and sort of took on that storyline because of their maybe part of it. I don't know, whatever. I believe that the DB Cooper it was a CIA type mission. It was to get the ladders closed on the back of the planes. That was all that it was for. It was just a mission. No, it wasn't like a suppressed guy that did it, but it's
Well,
just
with starting over, like I told you with the updates, I don't know if I messaged this to you or not, but it made me think about like if they're referring to Skippy as like the original one with sympathy for the devil, I was like, okay, I wonder if like devil behind like backwards is lived, and I'm like, are they insinuating that Skippy lived? I don't know.
yeah.
That's what Hammer Tom brought me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is
Add to
that
my,
who's on that picture? Yeah, there you go.
add to my junk.
Oh, your little Randy Moss card.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think the DB Cooper thing is 100% real. We'll figure out the story as we pull this together as a team, and that's sort of redundant itself. Those guys work in teams. They do not work solo. No man is left behind type thing. It's a brotherhood, very small, tight knit community that has more secrets than your 7th grade diary. You know, like they're just in an elite part of the world that they're different. They're trained different. They're different people. So you may be experiencing a little bit of that and looking into old SEALs. You know, they were before they were called SEALs. They were Navy UDT divers, underwater demolition guys. They were frogmen. They were just fucking elite, badass soldiers that just killed. But they all jumped out of planes and they all did halo jumps too. So they were high altitude, low opening jumps, and they're masters at it. And so I can't imagine that anybody pulling this off would have not known what they were doing. If it was a mission, they already had it all set up. And it's just a story for us to figure out in the future because
Well, Stuef Admin did tell you directly, which they've talked to you more than anybody else, other next to Ben, which that makes you suspect. Yeah, ha ha ha.
it's I
Yeah.
mean, I'm asking questions, so hopefully they answer them, and what I'm taking those answers is I'm trying to solve the puzzle. So they
But
also did,
what they told you was they knew what the old Stuef.com, what that was all about.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I think
They had
that
they had
without
the
telling
so they had the
everybody should probably
answers. They had the answers to all of that.
yeah.
So which this all started from going back to the Wayback Machine. me
Yep.
doing a show on it. But I still don't know how that helps us get to where we need to be today. That's what I, that's
Well,
where,
I think part of it's to question Stoof, and so that people can get out of their minds that maybe the 9 Mile Hole thing was sort of the decoy that everybody thinks that it is. Like, of course, they all have these red flags on it, but why is there red flags and still no closure? Like, there's still, and that's part of the plan. Like, there's just resources that were thrown, and all the people that are being used are all like lawyers, people that are paid to not say anything. It's against the law, like HIPAA laws. You have a medical student that found this thing. You can't go question him. Maybe you're supposed to question him through the HIPAA thing. Why didn't y'all question about medical stuff? This dude's in a medical. How did he get this information? Could it have been he hid it from there? Is all of a sudden a medical guy finds the treasure? What does the medical guy have that we don't? He has information. And so they're trying to make it seem that way, but that's just kind of the storyline so that whenever this all comes out, that's part of it to know that that's how this was designed. If you really want to solve overall, why did that happen? It's not probably going to come out until it comes out, but some people are going to see the forest for the trees and go along with it and realize, I should have thought about this before. I mean,
Well, just
that's
speaking of like the Wayback Machine and with the old website, it made me think the other day, there's only so many updates that I know that sometimes it's automatic, but that they have, I don't know how you do it technically, but like they have pinned where you can see a screenshot of it. So it makes me wonder if the ones that don't have screenshots, if they even matter, because who knows that if we didn't have those threads in our Discord, people that wanted to start tomorrow, they're only going to see our Discord, but if they didn't see it, they would only see what was pinned before. And I think it's probably only like half. Like in the beginning, they pinned a lot. And then it's random dates after that. So there's gaps in between where updates you will never see again.
yeah. And the update factor could be like where other folks could scramble because we were kind of grandfathered in a way
Yeah.
through a whole entire process of things that we did. And now that it's people would have to come and find that, they would have to come and ask people like us questions. And so we have the control at that point when people are asking us questions, and that's just part of the design. Like, it's a natural system when it comes to things going viral. People are naturally going to be attached to that, and we'll be in the middle of it because we'll have all the answers, because people point fingers at us because they'll be like, hey, that these people were working on it, that's where we're getting our answers from. We gotta And so that's how all that ends up happening in the next phase. But in order to not be influencers off of that, it has to me, it ends up going into the same thing, ends up going into a JCB treasure hunt or whatever is out there that's going to have a dead end. What needs to be done is a literal think tank that's exclusive to whatever it is that's being solved, like whether it be a mystery or, hey, this group of folks are getting together because they're revealing the solution. Y'all aren't going to know it until the end because you just weren't part of it, but it's going to happen. That's a convincing factor, but that's what's going to happen anyway. It's not going to be one person that's like, hey, this is what happened, and everybody's going to be like, yeah, okay, cool, and then a party ensues. No, it's to to let the beat build all the way up until it's time for the ball to drop. And I think we're in control of it, just all of us. But the Stuef.com is just the nucleus. There's people that are passionate that we can use to solve it, because apparently there's answers already that need to be given. They're just only giving them to people that are maybe passionate, I'm guessing. It seems that Ben gets to talk to Stuef on the side, and that's fine. I get to talk to Stuef until they stop talking to me, and then no one else gets to talk to Stuef. It doesn't seem like a very fair playing field, but I'll play off of that, so that way those that are passionate can share parts of the answers that I got. And when it comes to those times, you know, why did that happen? And so Ben's gonna not answer any questions the same way I'll only answer questions to people that are part of this, that really want to know why this is there. And that's how this whole thing works. And that's where it becomes a chess game too, amongst players on each side, if you think about it. But
When was the last time that you talked to Stuef Dot Com?
that last months ago. They stopped, they ghosted me. They told me I'm telling you too much information, and then they just stopped responding. I probably have another 20 questions in there after that
Yeah.
that they haven't responded on. So, but like how I communicate that way is like I'll go back into bring in the share my music, and I was trying to communicate with Stuef to see if I could get a reaction, and I was posting songs on purpose timelines while in share the music. And so one of the songs I posted was Rob Bailey, but it was missing half of the artist's title in the YouTube channel. I did that on purpose. And I didn't realize this until later, but I was trying to figure out what I could piece together from this. And then down the road, we came up with how we didn't even realize that movie Hustle came up. And so then the day before that was share your music, or no, it was listen to the music or something. I can't remember. Anyways, I just went back to find all the songs that you posted, that Brian posted, Riper posted. And then I found that one. I was like, oh, it's Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard. They took the whole entire hustle out of the song and then put it in a movie. Is that what they did? And so I started going back and looking at the other songs that I had posted, and the ones that you had posted. Like you posted a Pretty Little Poison song, and I think that song is going to be something to do with the movie that we haven't got yet, in a way.
Yeah.
And
possible.
Just stuff like that, where they're communicating with a specific set of people now, like between me and you and Brian and Roll. They were communicating with Moon, like whoever's active, Ben, Alan, like people that are asking questions. Obviously, there gets too many people in chat. Then they're like, all right, let's get some actual real relative terms here. Listen to the music. Well, there's no music in chat. We have a whole entire domain set up for music. And then it gets spammed really, really bad all of a sudden. And then so that's how I play it. And I think that if we go back and find all the songs that we posted in that time frame and those last few updates, I think that's where they were playing with us at. And then like the volcano stuff, that whole separate timeline has a meeting to just the chaotic things that were going on at the time towards the end of the thing. And I think it's their updates are done. I think they had to give us that last update just to tell us either that we're dumb or that this is a hint to the movie that y'all haven't got yet. Because it's a dumb movie that flops, and just like we flopped on that last one, I think that they're just sort of trolling us on it in a way.
Well, it's just weird how the one movie clip we couldn't get, so they gave us another movie clip. I'm surprised they've not given us another clip.
They're literally telling us you're high. Like, stop. You're fucking high, dude. Like, dude, like there's nothing serious about this movie in any way, shape, or form. A dickless traitor. Like, I mean, they're just saying, you know.
Well, okay, so you could be reading into that too much, because what happens in the actual scene is he grabs him, he's wearing a black robe, and then he's reversed to a white robe, black and white. So,
well, that was another.
Yeah.
That's
and
why,
maybe it has nothing to do with Calazar's, Dickless Trader, or nothing like that.
That's why I want to go back to the Wayback Machine, because I had a whole theory thing about the black. There was, in the first update, there was one song in the black and then there was one song in the white. But with yours, that would debunk my whole theory, because both of your songs were in the picture. So I may have that completely wrong.
Yeah.
because
Hey, I'm gonna have to jump off here in just a minute or so.
Yeah, we're getting ready to get off, Chris. It's almost 9 o'clock, so yeah.
Sorry, Whitney, I didn't mean to cut you off like that.
no, you're good. iPad's about to die anyway, so no, that's fine. I
So
looked at my phone, but now my iPad's about to die.
before you and I get off, Whitney, thanks, Chris, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's good chatting, and we'll do it again sometime soon. I'll be in touch.
I will share with you what I've shared with Whitney about the DC. So
Yes,
just
thank you.
remind me to share that.
I
So
sure will.
Whitney, going back to the DC,
Okay.
okay, Bismarck, DC.
Right.
What if the middle name starts with a B? DBC. I'm going to investigate that some more. Anyway,
Why did you do two lines? I know you did the first line for Bismarck in the emerald, like it went through the emerald ring. I was going to ask you, what was that second line?
the second line was the temple
Oh, okay.
of Einstein. Yeah.
I gotcha.
But and then here's my other thing that everybody talks about. It's got to be a MC, you know, like McCarty or McWilliams or McDonald or something like that. It's got to be a name like that because we've got E equals MC squared.
Yeah.
But we don't
This
know.
is really random, but I re-listened to the podcast with Stephanie 30 Acre and Mindy, and she randomly said that at one point Finn told her that pi means steps. How to apply that, I don't know, but it made me think about there being Einstein in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I know he did not discover pi, but we have Pi Day, and that's his birthday, and yada yada. Before anybody corrects me.
You're talking about, you mentioned Stephanie 30 Acre. So when I was looking at the whole Carrie Underwood, typewriter Underwood thing, I mentioned that you use paper and a typewriter. Her dad worked for a paper mill. She also had a sister named Stephanie.
Really?
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know what that does for us, but so I was going to tell you, you said something about going back to the Wayback Machine. So when you go back to the Wayback Machine on Stuef.com for the very first entry that's there, it takes you, it
Like
gives you
2011, isn't it?
Huh?
Is it 2011's the first time?
Yeah, it's 2011. I can't remember what the date was now because I already clicked on it off of it. But it takes you to greensmoke.com. Green smoke.
At least it's not black.
Huh?
The black smoke monster lost, that would be too much.
But the thing that shows up, the only thing that shows up on the screen is a saying. And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus start.
Oh yeah, you shared that the other day, didn't you?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I know there's so many like little entries in there. I haven't clicked through every single thing, but yeah, some of those like little screenshots are weird for sure.
That goes clear back to 2001, September 24th, 2001. It probably doesn't mean anything. I just thought it was interesting. Let the rumpus start.
Yeah.
Go figure. I mean, I don't know where any of this is going to take us, but something tells me the music is the focus.
Yeah, I would.
But I don't know.
Jot down all the keys of the song, so that's a good idea.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
I'm going to do that, but I have a feeling a lot of them are probably going to be just consonants, no vowels.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I'll see where it gets us. I don't know. But I think your chessboard thing is really interesting.
I think it'll be where you got to get that first, and then maybe we can plug it in at some point.
And it's either going to be your black squares or your white squares. It's going to give you your answer.
Yeah, right.
So it could be just a continuation off of X marks the spot.
That part has never wavered. I mean, I still, to this day, think that it does. I think that's the only thing that's kept me going, knowing that I have a little bit of that experience, but it's because I mean, you could school me in Finn knowledge. I have no idea, but yeah, I don't know. I'm getting tired these days, so energy is low.
All righty. Thanks, Whitney.
All right, bye.
Thanks, everybody. Be safe, be kind, be positive, and have fun. Go Yankees. Oh, Gallatin Ghost. I wish you could have joined us. It would have been good. I forgot to mention that when Whitney was on here. But it would have been good if Gallatin could have joined us because she seems to think that she knew who Stuef.com was, and she mentioned something about the music and the movies, which clued me into a couple of things. Like, could it possibly be who I think maybe she thinks it is? Ben, I don't know if she shared that with you or not. I don't know if Gigi's shared that with you, but that'd be interesting to know who she thought that was because I think I know who she thinks it is, and that would be interesting. Which her answer was, if that's who it is, then I'm out. So I'm just curious if she thinks who I'm thinking, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, good night, everybody. Have a good weekend. Um, oh, Ashley, Ben, tell Ashley, hope that toe heals. I missed the conversation, I guess, on Discord or the day before about what she did to it. I don't know if she kicked you or what she did, but hopefully it gets better, heals fast. I know I was joking around yesterday with her a little bit. So, oh, call the tow truck. Anyway, everybody, Galaxy, thanks for stopping in and chat. You and I just need to get together sometime and hop on here and we can chit chat football or whatever you want to talk about. And yeah, the Vikings didn't fare too well against the Lions this time. But there's one more game. We'll have you one more game. So anyway, good night, everybody. Take care.